Good evening. Guess we have a huge crowd here tonight. I'd like to take this moment to thank everybody that did show up. You know, your attendance is appreciated and very welcome. We're here tonight to go over the warrant articles that will be presented at the first deliberative session on January 31st. And I'd also like to take this moment for the Budget Committee, School Board, and the SAU to introduce themselves. Starting with myself, I'm Simon Barnett from Danbury. I'm the Budget Committee Chair. And Skip, if you want to stand up or come up.
Harold Riley from Alexandria, and I represent the other 6 towns along with us here from the district and vice chair. Thank you again for coming tonight.
John Dennis, representing New Hampton.
And Review. Skip Bird from Bridgewater.
Okay. Ruby Hill from Danbury School Board Chair.
Vincent Paul Migliori from Bridgewater, and I think I know everyone in here.
Stacy Buckley, Superintendent.
Mike Lamani, Business Administrator.
Jeff Levesque from Groton and School Board Representative to the Budget Committee.
Ben Rush from Bristol.
Don Franklin, Hebron.
Christine Duvall, Manhattan.
And I do not want to forget about Kimberly. Stand up. Kimberly is our scribe for tonight. All right. Yes, we need to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Where is our flag? If everybody can rise. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. We've prepared a presentation here to go over tonight. A couple of rules we kind of want to go over. We'd like to present all of the current warrant articles and let us get through the whole presentation of each article before we ask any questions. I don't think it's going to be a problem here tonight, but at the end of each warrant article, we'll take the questions on that warrant article. Once we have completed the discussion of that one warrant article, we'll move on to the next one, not to go back to any previous article. So we'll get started. Warrant Article 1 is to choose all necessary school district officials for the next ensuing, for the year ensuing. Second session in March 10th, 2015, the election day. Our current open positions for the Newfound Area School Board is 1 representative from Danbury, Groton, and Hebron will be needed. These will all be 3-year terms. For the Newfound Area Budget Committee, we'll also be looking for 1 representative from Danbury, Groton, Hebron, and again, a 3-year term. And as always, we're looking for a moderator for 1-year term. Oh, we're not going to have any questions. I don't think anybody has any questions on that warrant article, so. So we're going to go to warrant article number 2. Article 2 is the teacher's contract agreement. Shall the Newfound Area School District vote to approve the cost items included in a 2-year collective bargaining agreement reached between Newfound Area School Board and the Newfound Area's Teachers Association, which calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits. And further to raise and appropriate the sum of $305,620 for the 2016 fiscal year. Such sum representing the additional cost attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. Summary of agreement. The board's goal is to focus on the competition among school districts to attract the best teachers, retention of those good teachers, and accountability for those teachers. Both the school board and budget committee unanimously recommended this article. It's a 2-year contract for the 2015-2016 year and the 2016-2017 school year. Salary matrix was adjusted in both years to equalize the differences in all steps and tracks. Was adjusted to increase the overall pay so that we remain competitive in the region. Increase in general was 3.5% to step and 3% to each track. In year 1, the average increase is going to be 4.63%. In year 2, the average increase is 4.72%. All co-curricular stipends will increase by 2%. Changes in leave. Currently have 19 authorized leave days. The proposed agreement changes this to 12 sick days, 3 personal days, 5 bereavement days per year, professional leave up to 2 days per year, currently unlimited and not counted as part of the 19 days. Health insurance. Teachers will pay 13% of health insurance premium for 2015-2016 and 15% for 2016 and 2017. The health insurance incentive will be eliminated. A joint committee will be developed to investigate alternatives to the current health insurance plans. All professional development days will now be district-level professional development activities. Currently, several of the days are up to the teacher's individual discretion. This will allow us to provide more systemic professional development. Now we'll open the floor up. We have 2 microphones. If anybody has any questions or comments on the current warrant article? That.
Mike, would you put some of the previous materials back up on the screen? Because you went through a whole bunch of things there.
Not a problem.
Yeah, whole bunch of issues. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
How far back would you like to go?
One more? Okay, now go forward again. And I think I may-
Not a problem.
Mr. Chairman, for recording purposes, we have microphones for speakers. Good questions.
Okay. Archie, can you please go to a microphone?
I heard it. Yeah, I do have a question, Michael. Simon.
I know who you meant.
Simon, where would this put the district with respect to other school districts? Will this put us sort of in the middle of the pack? Will it put, will we still be lower, up above? Try to give me a general sense, if this passes, where we will be paying, you know, what will we
Where we
be doing
stand.
to our teacher salaries and how will we compare?
I'm not a real expert on this. We weren't even part of the agreement, so I'll defer that to either Mike or Stacy to kind of answer that.
So just as an example, currently a teacher at Bachelor Step 1 is salary is $34,370. Next year, it will be 34,370, but the following year will be 35,401. We are in the lower third of beginning teacher salaries, and we're trying to increase that to retain and attract teachers. The other thing was that our salary differences between steps was very, so at the beginning, a beginning teacher was making a small amount in between, so from year 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, it was a small increase. Higher end teachers were making far more, so we were trying to equalize that out. So we worked well with the teachers union to create a 2-year grid to get us to equalized steps so that teachers were paid more equitable across the district, as well as trying to meet, so when we look at competing districts like Plymouth, Molten Borough, Interlakes, where teachers might go to apply, we want to stay competitive with their salary increases and their salaries so that teachers don't leave here to go somewhere else. We spend a lot of money training teachers and working with them, and we want to keep them after we've trained them and worked with them, and we don't want them to go somewhere else to get those increases. Teachers also didn't get raises this year because the teacher contract did not pass last year, so this kind of catches them up a little bit as well.
And it is your belief that if this were passed, that this would go a big step towards equalizing Newfound with other school districts?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions on Article number 2? Then we'll move on. So warrant Article number 3, this is one we should all be used to seeing as voters. Shall the Newfound Area School District vote to raise and appropriate up to the sum of $60,000 to be added to the expendable trust fund, building maintenance, and to authorize the use and transfer in that amount from the undesignated fund balance available July 1st, 2015 for this purpose. This warrant article does not raise taxation. It's only if there is a fund balance left at the end of the 2015 school year, and that can be transferred over into the trust fund. Not assuming anybody has any questions on that one. So warrant Article number 4, the operating budget. Shall the Newfound Area School District raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $21,948,204. Shall this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $22,139,936, which is the same as last year, within certain adjustments required by previous actions of the Newfound Area School District or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 4013X and to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. I'm skipping that. Historical budget information. There's a whole lot of numbers up here. If everybody kind of wants to take a look at those, I'll read kind of the bullet notes. The proposed general fund budget 10 is $46,288 less than last year's budget. The proposed total budget, Fund 10, 21, and 22, is $2,767 more than this year's budget. Inclusive of the district warrant articles, the proposed total budget is $308,387, more than this year's budget, or an increase of 1.01%. The proposed total budget, inclusive of all district warrant articles, is $44,588 below the tax cap. We can come back to the slide if anybody has question. The school board budget and adjustments to stay within the tax cap. The school board received from the school district, SAU, and all the administrators request for funds. The school board had to remove certain items in order to stay within the tax cap. These are the items that were removed. At the high school, new textbooks. The high school, new furniture. Professional development training for the district. There was an increase for health insurance premiums. Retirement for non-teacher. Retirement for teacher. School board legal. Technology. Health insurance change for program specialists. Gym floors at the high school and the middle school. A new phone system for the district. The high school auditorium projector. District painting of the interior buildings. Roof replacement at the middle school. Administrative wage increases. Additional retiree expense increase was added in. Once the school board completed their budget and submitted it to the budget committee had their review of the budget, and this is what we have come up with. But between the school board's approval of the budget and the budget committee's review of the budget, the SAU administration received a projected adequacy aid calculations from the state, which provided for an increase in revenues of $170,674. This allowed the budget committee to review the school board's proposals and make adjustments while staying within the tax cap. The items that were removed by the school board in order to stay below the tax cap, we wanted to start with. Some of the items we really focused on was more of building and taking care of our properties that we have currently. We added back into the budget roof replacement at the middle school. We added back in the gym floors at the high school and the middle school. They both need to be refinished. Added in at the high school an auditorium projector, so we can have some easier projections up here during these type of meetings. District painting of interior buildings. A lot of our schools, as you go through them, they're in dire repair. As part of the budget, there are some proposed staffing adjustments. Recommended additions, a new preschool teacher for the district, 2 para-educators for preschool program in the district, increased part-time para-educator position to full-time at New Hampton School, 1 additional para-educator at the Danbury Elementary School, increased part-time teacher of extended learning opportunities to full-time at the high school, increased part-time teacher of family and consumer science to full-time at the high school. The recommended reductions in staffing, a guidance secretary from full-time to part-time at the middle school, a guidance counselor reduction at the high school, an English teacher reduction at the high school, a foreign language teacher reduction at the high school, guidance counselor from full-time to 3 days a week at the Bridgewater School, 1 elementary position at the Bridgewater School, and kindergarten position from full-time to part-time at the New Hampton School. In the packet that everybody should have had a chance to grab, there is some detailed explanations of all the staffing adjustments to answer any of the questions on why and where these positions were decided upon. Does anybody have any questions on the operating budget? Can't make it that easy.
Yes, I have a question concerning the elementary Hebron, Bridgewater Hebron reduction elementary teacher. I thought we were going to try and get another class in there. It's all about 6th grade, am I correct? Why would we eliminate somebody we might need there?
I'll ask Stacy to answer that for you.
The proposal to move 6th grade to the elementary schools would not be for next year. It would be for the following year, for the 16-17 school year. It would likely be that those teachers would move from the middle school to the elementary school. This is a reduction because we currently have 2 5th grade classes and only 1 4th grade class. So the 5th grade class will be moving to the middle school. So we only need 1 5th grade classroom. So we're reducing 1 teacher because we only need 1 in 5th grade next year.
Kathleen Connor, Hebron. I'm also guidance counselor at BHVS, Danbury Elementary, and I have children at both the middle school and the high school. I'm concerned about the reductions in the guidance counselor position. I just want some clarification. I have been working just this year between the 2 schools, which I think I've been working very hard at, and I see kids all the time needing more time. And I'm just curious about the choice to continue in that format. And the thinking behind that. And also, I believe we reduced a guidance counselor last year from the high school, so does that leave it to 1 person in the high school? I'm just curious. So I'm just looking for a clarification on that.
Here she comes.
Okay.
So at the high school, we actually reduced a guidance counselor this year. We did not fill one of the positions.
Right.
And so it is that same position. We're just cutting it out of the budget next
So it's
year.
more formally
Correct.
done.
Correct. And in the other position, the switch out was 2 things. One was for enrollment, and just based on our numbers and what the state recommendation is for our recommendations for guidance counselors. The other was to try to help us retain guidance counselors. We have had significant turnover in guidance counselors at Danbury Elementary School because it's a 2-day-a-week position. So typically people will take it, and so our goal was to potentially have a full-time position split between those 2 schools to try to retain somebody with those reduced enrollment numbers. Even though we had an increase now in Danbury, which we weren't predicting, but.
So I guess just as a piece of feedback, that I would say it's a demanding job for one person to
Absolutely.
do. I think we have some very challenging children right now in both schools that really would benefit from more time. And I do personally, from talking to many people who are other guidance counselors, also outside of this district, if you were to even just put a 3-day-a-week position out in somewhere part-time, you'd probably be able to retain people longer. 2 days a week, it's kind of this wishy-washy position, and people want, if they're going to go part-time, they may want 3. And I would definitely see the value of having someone out there 3 days a week. So I just want to say that, and more. I mean, just having someone there to meet the growing needs of all these children with the current demands academically. Teachers don't get to provide that comfort, and they're on. Those teachers are on, and those kids are on, and they sometimes need to be in a different place to work on the goals that make all that education accessible to them. So I just want to put that out there.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask people to look into their crystal ball, and I'm going to say to you, in your crystal ball, you're going to see that both districts vote to combine. I'm speaking, of course, about Newfound and Hill. Will this have, if that passes, will this staffing meet the needs that will be required by the additional students?
So with the Hill agreement, we are anticipating approximately 10 students per grade level. And it won't be all at one time because they'll transition students in. We do anticipate that we will not need additional staffing to cover those.
Thank you.
Susan Colby, Bristol. I'm curious about when the Budget Committee had made their cuts to go within the tax cap, and then the extra money became available for the Budget Committee. I saw that there was, I think it was 44,000 or so that was removed for technology, and there's still, I think it was 43,000 that were still below the tax cap. So I'm wondering if there's any chance that at least we could put, or the committee would consider putting money back in for technology, or why that wasn't put back in. Because I thought in the beginning you said that it was recommendations, what the schools needed between the principals and staffing at the school, what was needed. So I'm wondering.
Yep, we actually had quite a discussion on actually that technology that was removed, and I'd like to have Mike kind of explain that line item for me.
I'm not going to defend whether or not it should be back in the budget. I can say that our technology department does recommend that that be in the budget. It represents needs over and beyond the technology plan and the replacement of equipment. When I did speak to him, I did actually check this with our tech manager, and just to make sure, are these over new equipment purchases that are addition for needs that we have that may be considered over and beyond? And he said, no, this is really based on our the plan that we have in place, not meeting the replacement needs of their goals. So I personally know that their department would recommend bringing those back into the budget, and I would agree with that.
Okay.
As the Budget Committee reviewed the several line items that are in the technology area, there was a lot of money already associated with replacement or new. And we wanted to focus a lot on the buildings, where the buildings need a lot of disrepair. And it's not, we have the room under the tax cap, it doesn't mean we have to use all of it. And that's kind of where we ended up with the budget.
But if it's available and if it's recommended from the technology department, I'm just a little confused why it wasn't, but okay, thank you.
There was a lot of things requested for. We'd like to add them all, but we're trying to balance between what the taxpayers can afford and what we can do to give a good education. Hey.
Sorry to throw you off over there. Question, is there any evidence that the board has come up or been able to develop, with rumors going around, that because Hill has a lot of homeschool children because they don't want their kids going to the Franklin system, but as soon as they find they're going to come here and get a better education, all of a sudden they're going to be dumped into us fast by their parents? Is there any evidence that that might be true, and that maybe your figures might not be the way you figure they're going to be?
So I know this question has come up. The DOE actually tracks homeschool students. If you go to their website, the last recorded data shows that they have 11 homeschool students, 11, K to 12. So the chances of having us get overwhelmed with homeschool students would be pretty low.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions before we move on? Warrant Article 5. Article 5 is a petition warrant article to to see if the surrounding towns of the Newfound Area School District will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $15,000 per school year in supporting the Newfound Memorial Middle School to assume the responsibility and operation of the Newfound Football Junior Bears program at the request of the Friends of Newfound Football Organization. Without the feeder system, the football program that the Junior Bears provides, Newfound Regional High School could not be a competitive program versus other surrounding schools. And I believe we have a gentleman here tonight that would like to speak to this warrant article.
Brian Richardson, Alexandria. I'm actually going to ask Lynn Como to come up. She's got something to tell you first, and we'll also I'll add into anything she doesn't have here.
Lynn Como, I'm from Hebron. And as the president of Newfound Football, I have seen kids who are struggling with everyday issues become better people with stability and guidance of their peers and coaches. As you all know, the high school has the program for 9th to 12th graders. At the present time, there is not a school-sponsored football team for the younger students. This is the only high school-sponsored sport that does not have a middle school-approved feeder program. If this trend continues without the support of the school, in 4 to 5 years, the high school might not even have enough kids in the football team. This is a great avenue for many students who are not skilled in soccer, cross country, and other fall sports offered for boys in the middle school. Impact testing would be available to these children, which is now not available to them. I have figures that I have put together, and I am in hopes that the program can become part of the middle school sports roster. The field will still be maintained by the Friends of Newfound Football, with the exception of mowing, and there would not be any cost to the school district as to the maintenance of the building or the field. If we could get this sport into the school system, we can then open up a youth program for the younger children, like flag football, because as football is a no-cut program, anybody that signs up can play.
Thank you.
If for those of you who haven't been around long enough to know, the high school program began in 2002. It was funded totally by the Friends of Newfound Football. In 2005, 6, and 7, there were warrant articles that were passed that brought the high school program into the funded by the school district. The Junior Bears program was started in 2005. So 10 years now, the Junior Bears program has been funded by the Friends of Newfound Football. Well, over the last couple of years, as you all well know, through the auspices of a local contractor and through our work and whatnot, the Newfound Regional High School has a really nice facility, really nice football facility. We're working hard to make that better. We have things that we'd like to do, and in process, funds raised for that would make that facility better. This article would allow us to be able to do that in a better way, and it would also put the junior high football program under the umbrella of the athletic coordinator at the middle school. There would be more oversight, and we think that's a good thing. So that's why we're bringing this forward to you. If you remember last year, we tried to do this also. There wasn't enough registered voters that were on the petition, and we tried to do it at the deliberative session, but it didn't fly. So we're trying it again, and we hope that you all will get behind us. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask permission to speak.
Of
I'm
course.
not a registered voter. I don't live in this town. I'm the I'm Andrew Zendry. I'm the paraprofessional here at the high school. I'm also the head varsity football coach.
Of course, go ahead.
All right. Football also is not only about making the outstanding athlete, it's about making fine young men. Some of you guys have probably heard some of the outreach programs that we've done through helping out on the community. The football program this year has helped out with the Timberman Triathlon that's held in Guilford. We also held out in the marathon that's held in Bristol. Also, we did the New Hampshire Tackles for Hunger. We were the highest Division III school in the state. Also with that, through WMUR, that gave us an additional $500 that we turned right around and gave back to the Bristol Food Bank. Also, we're rated #1 in Division III for sportsmanship. Also, we were #2 in the overall state. That's ranked by the coaches, referees, and on your environment in this school for visiting teams. So that was a great win for us. Also, we have some past data from this. Also helped a couple of our athletes from last year as well go to college. I don't know if you guys know of Nick Tapley and Devin Fields. Both of them are on a full academic scholarship to go to West Virginia Wesleyan. So that's what we're continuing to strive for, moving our kids to better students and better athletes. So if we allow this program to get funded and part of the middle school, we can start that process earlier and we won't lose as many kids through the cracks, and we'll be able to bring this forward. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi there, Susan Colby again. I'm not for or against. I think the football team has done fantastic things, especially so much on their own. But I'm just curious how the $15,000 a year compares to the other sports, you know, whether it's baseball, softball, spirit, basketball, track, all of those. I'm just wondering how the cost compares.
Okay. I don't know if we have that direct cost. Yeah. We can try to provide some of that information, but we don't have that collected yet. Thank you.
Sorry, I might be able to help with that. The $15,000 that we have asked for to be put into the budget is because some of the equipment that we do have, that we use as Friends of Newfound Football, does have to be replaced. We need new uniforms. In the cost that we prepared, we were asking for 30 uniforms because that's what we're hoping that we get, is 30 kids that will be interested in this at $150 a piece. The transportation, we can do that. We have costs in here to replace helmets, but the Friends of Newfound Football this year have replaced, there'll be 14 new helmets that will be coming in, so that might not even be part of the $15,000. It might be able to come in under the budget. What we have done is we have now gotten involved with the athletic director of the high school, and we're working with him as well as with Coach Zendry to try to bring everything together so that these kids are going to be one unit instead of this person playing this way and this person playing that way. So when they do come to the high school, they'll know what to expect. And, you know, we are just hoping that this cost that we have prepared will be coming under budget. But we've asked for the 15 to cover us.
Thank you.
Since there's so few of us, I just wanted to bring, I guess, Kathleen Connor, Hebron, just one other perspective of we're putting a lot of money into sports, and I am a firm advocate for sports and athletics. In fact, I'm missing my son's soccer game tonight. So I am an advocate for that, whether you're playing football, soccer, cross country, whatever. I think we do need to think about where any of the money is going and how much more money do we put towards athletics versus towards the academic time in school. And I don't want to be the one dismissing those things because I think they are of great value. At the same time, I want to be careful that we're not forgetting providing that day-to-day support to students who are now in bigger classrooms. There's less resources in the building. $15,000 could pay for part of a person to be there during the day to provide that support. And I don't mean I don't want to place judgment about which sport is better or worse. So whether you choose to change something else, that would be up to consideration. But I just want to put that in.
Hi, Annie Learned, Bristol. And again, I would like to say I wholeheartedly support Newfound Athletics. My son has been a 3-season athlete since middle school. But again, I'd like to speak to that same point. We're talking about cutting the technology money from the budget. We're not replacing textbooks at the high school. So not that I'm opposed to funding this, but I guess I would have a super difficult time when we're not replacing textbook at the high school, but we're okay to put $15,000 in the budget for football. I have a super hard time with that. Again, speaking to the fact that our focus should be on improving the educational outcomes of our students, and I think a lot of that our focus has to be in the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to applaud the speaker that just was prior to me, as I agree with that. As an illustration, yesterday, and some of you people have heard me say this before, which happened a couple of years ago to me, but just yesterday, I was in the Hebron store, and one of the young ladies that works there, I always check my quarters, I like the state quarters, I collect them. And I go, wow. Hey, Guam, I don't get many of that lately. And I looked at her, and she goes, Guam? And I said, yeah. You know where Guam is? South America? I said, no, try again. I said, you don't get geography in school anymore, do you? No. And this girl's out of school now, I believe. And she went through this system. And I say, something's wrong when you have U.S. territories aren't even taught in school, and they make quarters in the U.S. Mint to signify states and territories, and she didn't know where Guam was. How many other kids do? I think education's lacking. I think maybe more money should go toward teaching kids something than sports are great, don't get me wrong. But I think the emphasis, as this lady said, I'm with her on that.
Thank you very much. Well, if there's no more questions on Article 5, we'll close the discussion on that, as well as close the discussion on the budget hearing for the night. Again, thank everybody for showing up. The Budget Committee is going to have a short meeting after this hearing is over. Anybody's more than welcome to attend. It is a public meeting.